Helgi.
Boss, congratulations.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. So I've just got your email about our youth intake this year. What the happened? You told me this was going to be an excellent youth intake. It's poor. It's 1-star rated. It's gone from 5 stars to 1. What the hell, dude? I don't want to hear it. You are lucky I'm in a good mood. That is so disappointing. We need these players for European competitions now that we've qualified.
Sorry, boss.
Unbelievable. You're on thin ice, mate. You're on thin ice. Damn it. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 28 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well. Things hopefully back to usual with both the face cam and the audio today, and we are playing two games in today's episode. We are going to be taking on Stjarnan in a potential title clincher for us in the Islandsdeildin, and if we get the job done there, we will then head forward to take on Motherwell in our first Conference League group stage game. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but as you have been able to tell by the intro, not the youth intake we were expecting earlier this season. A couple of episodes ago now, we did show you guys our youth intake preview for this year because it was expected to be an excellent youth intake, but unfortunately, our man Helgi has completely bullshitted us, it has to be said. We have got a 1-star youth intake, and most of these players not of the quality that we're going to need here for this challenge. There's one player with 3-star potential in Gujon Bjarni Palmason. He looks the best of them. He is a winger come attacking midfielder. His 3-star potential, he could potentially be of some use to us, but for the most part, this is a really poor youth intake, and that is not what we were expecting. So unfortunately, a bit of a bad way to start today's episode, it has to be said, mainly because we were expecting to have a very good youth intake this time around. In the end, it's probably the worst one that we've actually had at the club so far in the 3 seasons that we have been there. I suppose one of the reasons that might have dropped down from expectations to reality is because we have signed quite a few players since we did get that youth intake, that influx of players whose contracts did expire in those big European nations at the end of June. Maybe that has something to do with it, but still a really poor youth intake for us this year, unfortunately. But before we get into the first game of today's episode, the potential title decider, it's time to bring you guys an update on the league games that we have played since yesterday's episode, which if you missed, I'll leave a link to it above my head in the top right corner, the double-legged tie where we did make our way into the Conference League group stages with a win over Trabzonspor. But time to bring you guys up to date on the league highlights. And in fact, we have actually just played the one league game since yesterday's episode away at Nats KR. Got off to a decent start here, 22nd minute, and Nicolucci slots through Isidore to put us 1-0 up fairly early on in this game. And then about 10 minutes later, good interception there from the Icelandic winner Bjarkason. And then while Pedro continues his really good form, slowing that away nicely into the bottom right corner, and we win that game somewhat comfortably 2-0 in the end. Stats-wise, it was actually a bit more even than the scoreline would suggest, but we had the one more clear-cut chance. We're a little bit more ruthless in front of goal than Nats KR were. The reason I got confused and thought we might have played a few more games. If we go back to the schedule, we had a bit of a break off the back of that and had to schedule a few friendlies just to keep players nice and fit. So that's where the confusion came from, but we've played the one game, and what that means heading into the 5th game from the end of the season, we are 10 points clear of Nats. So if we can win this game today, we would go 13 points clear with only 4 match weeks left. That would be a big enough gap for us to win the title. We should be doing it anyway, but it's a good chance for us to do it on camera and lift the Islandsdeildin at our first time of asking and go to the top of Icelandic football, which would be very nice indeed. If we don't get the job done in this game, we still have quite a few games in which we should get the job done, and of course other teams would have to go faultless if we started dropping points as well. So it's already quite likely that we are going to win the top division here in Iceland this season, but we can absolutely guarantee it if we get the job done against bottom of the table Stjarnan in the first game of today's episode. Something else to take note of is that Breidablik, who are And a little bit of bother in the last episode and in the last couple of episodes, they've played their games in hand now that they've been knocked out of the Conference League qualifiers and they have rocketed right up the table, right on the brink of entering that top four. So that is another bit of positive news. But if we can beat bottom of the table at home, we will be lifting the Islandsdeildin, the team that we're going to put out for this game. It's the first time that we've really used this team on camera. It's pretty much our best 11 at this stage, maybe give or take the likes of Leandro Diaz, Federski, but otherwise that's pretty much our best 11 at the moment. It's made up of players who are not playing in the Conference League. We've left our Conference League team pretty much exactly the same as it was throughout the qualifiers, which is a little bit controversial because we did have the opportunity to register an entirely new team, but these guys haven't quite got as many of the green links as the other team have at the moment. So I thought we'd stick with those guys, and these guys have been performing well in the league for us, and hopefully they can bring us the title home in the first game of today's episode. And we'll come back shortly from the Husavik Heroes to see if we can lift the Islandsdeildin. First highlight of the game comes at the 8-minute mark. It is Stjarnan in the black with a throw-in, albeit deep inside their own half. This is a game based on form and league position. We should be winning pretty comfortably. Hopefully we can do it like that and lift this top division, make it 3 league titles in a row and win this top division at the first time of asking. Also a chance for you guys to get familiar with some of these players who are probably going to play most of next season. Nice ball over there for Bjarkason, our Icelandic winger, puts a ball in there for Pedro and really misses the target. He does that time and it remains 0-0 after 12 minutes. And not long off the back of that miss from Pedro, it is another highlight. The Stjarnan goalkeeper clearing it deep straight to one of our players, and we look to go forward here. Isidore gets inside, puts a ball across the byline yet again. Pedro tries to get a shot off. It's blocked. Another good chance there. We can't get anything that threatens the goalkeeper though, and it remains 0-0. At the 15-minute mark, we have a corner. Gavioli puts one in low, now looks to pick out Bjarkason at the far post, but the shot's pretty comfortable for the goalkeeper, and it does remain 0-0. And shortly off the back of that, it is another highlight here, a goal kick to Stjarnan. They play it about the back, and now they get the ball forward. Good interception there from Bamba. Isidore up to Nicolucci. Isidore again down the right-hand side. Can he put a ball into the mixer? Back to Nicolucci. Good 1-2 this time. Picks out Bjarkason, and the Icelandic winger gets his first goal for the club. His prior header was a little bit weak. That one has too much power on it. Goes straight through the hands of the Stjarnan goalkeeper, and that's exactly how we want to start things off. A good sustained period of pressure, and we go 1-0 up just after the core of an hour mark, and it looks pretty good for us early stages in this potential title decider. 32 minutes gone, we have a free kick. Gavioli to Pedro at the far post, but unfortunately he's offside in the end. It looked a little bit too good to be true, and indeed he's a good stride offside, so it does remain 1-0 at the half-hour mark. 43 minutes gone. You can see Stjarnan in the background do have a player off at the moment, but they do have a throw-in around the halfway line, trying to get something going in this game, because so far it's something like 10 shots to 0. They have fired absolutely nothing at us so far, and potentially we should be holding a more comfortable lead than the 1-0 that we have on the scoreboard at the moment. Hopefully we can get it a little bit better than that as we do head into half-time, and Prada down the left-hand side starts to make his way forward. Ball over there for Pedro, but he is offside, so just holds back from playing that one, and the Stjarnan goalkeeper will tidy things up, pumps one deep, but we do win the header, and the goal scorer Bjarkason will tidy things up. Prada back in for Gavioli. Pedro back to Gavioli. Good play. Nicolucci. It's a wonderful ball. Takes it past the goalkeeper. He's had a little bit of a shocker there, and Hans Nicolucci Caviglia gets his first goal for the club. I think I got his name right there. It's a bit of a long-winded one, and that is the scoreline that probably reflects the state of play a little bit better than the 1-0 did. That's a really nice ball to slot him through. The first touch just somehow gets that beyond the goalkeeper. A little bit sloppy from him. Had the potential to tidy that up, did the Stjarnan goalkeeper, and we go 2-0 up right before half-time. And we have one more highlight here as we're about to head into the sheds of thrown inside the final third. Bamba tries to put something in the mix there, but they do deal with it. Do the Stjarnan defence. Bonnet back over to Bamba, having a bit of an influence on this play. Nicolucci, Bonnet Isidore Gavioli with a wonderful long shot, a really nice ball before to set up the goal for Nicolosi, and that is a thunderbolt from outside of the box with a little bit of help from the upright, and we make it a very comfortable 3-0 right before halftime. A double blow. It's a really nice strike, this one. Not much the goalkeeper can do about that, and we're going to go into halftime with a very comfortable 3-0 lead. That's exactly what we wanted from this game, and looking at the stats, it's hard to argue we don't deserve it because Stjarnan still yet to fire a shot with 13 shots, 9 on target, 3 goals. It's looking very good for us to lift the league title in this game. We'll make no changes going into the second half, and hopefully we can finish the job and not bowl it. 61 minutes gone, we have our first highlight of the second half, a corner which Bjarkason gets on, and Biamba's there at the near post. He tucks it away with his feet, not what we've drawn up in terms of our set pieces, but he puts it away for his first goal for the club today as well. So a number of players getting their first goal, and that is a very nice way to start the second half, 4-0 up just after the hour mark, and it looks like we're going to be lifting the title in style here, albeit this is Stjarnan on the attack shortly off the back of that first goal of the second half. Egson down the right hand side puts one in, and Valdemarsson is given a lot of space, tucks it away. It is a goal. In fact, it isn't. He is offside, so we do get away with one there. First bit of threatening play from Stjarnan all afternoon, but it does remain 4-0 just after the hour mark, and we are going to make our first substitution at this stage as well. Bjarkason is down to a red heart. Christian Coffey can get a little bit of time out on the left wing. Another new face to the team, but looking very good for us. 4-0 up as we enter the last half hour. 78 minutes gone. We look to make it 5 with a throw in the final third. Prada puts one in, trying to pick out well. Pedro, he gets his head on the end of that. That's his 7th goal of the league season. He is looking like a wonderful striker for us. Maybe we should have registered this team for the Conference League. That could be a little bit of a mistake on my part, but I thought that team that was gelling well together would do us the job in that competition. It's a good goal for Pedro, and it makes it 5-0 as we enter the last 10 minutes. And off the back of that goal, we are going to make our last substitutions. Gavioli down to a red heart, so on for him. Wilbys, Vidursky, and Isidore also on a red heart. Dordovic can come on for him. So some of our first team players getting a few minutes as we lead in to that Motherwell game. 7 minutes left to play, and we are 5-0 up, about to lift the Islandsdeildin trophy. And inside the last few minutes of this game, 18 shots to nil, 13 on target to nothing, and we win this very comfortably against bottom of the table. I'm pretty sure that relegates Stjarnan down to the 1 deal, and at the first time of asking, we are going to pick up the top division trophy here in Iceland. We have pretty much cakewalked it, unbeaten at this stage, so that is a very good season. First up from the second tier, and we are for the first time in history at Volsungur, the champions of Iceland. Happy days, very comprehensive victory. Everyone's happy with us, no doubt, and we will come back shortly and see what happens off the back of that. So back in the inbox off the back of that win, everyone is very happy. We have completed a treble, of course, with the Icelandic Super Cup and the Deildabikar to go alongside that. Unfortunately, we can't make it a domestic quadruple because we are not in the Molkabikaran this year, but everyone very happy for us. We won the league title with a very comprehensive performance, and we have a meeting to potentially discuss turning professional. I suspect that this might be on the horizon. We'll see what happens here. We'll attend the meeting and see. They would like our opinion on whether we should look to turn professional. I think we just have to do it. It's going to be interesting to see the timing that they decide for this. It could happen in the middle of the Conference League, which could make things a little bit interesting. Maybe I'm going to regret not registering a new team for the Conference League a little bit more than I currently am, but we'll tell them that we love the idea. We do want to go professional. We've got the money to do it. We've got the quality of player to do it. And I think it's the next step in this Build a Nation challenge. So we will tell them that is what we want to do. They are also very happy with that. And if we leave the meeting, plan professional status change is going to hopefully be able to happen by the 25th of November. If we just go and have a quick look at the schedule, and we have 2 Conference League group games after we do turn professional. So that's going to make things a little bit tricky in terms of the players that we do look to sign 2 full-time contracts potentially just to get us through that group stage of the Conference League. And if we do well, potentially further that game that's coming up off the back of this against Motherwell is going to be quite important to that, because you'd imagine that we are going to be fighting for second in behind Napoli in this group. But finally, we are going professional in this save now that we do have the money to do it. Our performances have merited it, and now we have the money to be able to do that. We'll also have a quick look at the budget, because that could be quite important in terms of how many players we can sign, and I think we are going to be just fine. We've got 2.2 million in transfer budget, 8.5 thousand pounds a week in wage. Of course, we can slot some of that transfer budget over to the wage budget, and that might be the most sensible thing to do, as we do offer some of these players at the club full-time contracts. So a lot of stuff going on here. At Volsungur, we have won the Islandsdeildin for the first time in club history, and we are also going to turn professional. We'll come back shortly, play the league game off camera in between now and then, and we'll come back for our first Conference League group stage game at our home away from home against Motherwell. And we are back, having played our league game off camera in between that first game of today's episode, where we lifted the title, turn professional in the future, all that good stuff, and this Motherwell one to kick off the Conference League campaign. It was against Keflavik away from home. We picked up a 1-0 win. Not much point showing you guys the highlights of this one, but Wilson Isidore got an early goal, and from there a little bit of a dour affair, but we pick up another 3 points in the league to just make it ever so more comfortable for us. Might be a record points tally on offer for us in the Islandsdeildin as well, which would be a very nice way to mark our first season in the top division. In this save, that we have gone back to the team that you are a bit more familiar with for the Conference League. As I suggested earlier, we have made one change in the midfield, though. That is because Boscolo Shio, of course, did get injured in yesterday's episode. He's actually recovered just in time for these games, but I wasn't too sure. So what I've done is I've registered Nicolucci Caviglia in his place, a better quality player, and that means that midfield looks pretty strong with him in there instead of Boscolo Shio. But otherwise, that's pretty much the team that we've been using for most of the Conference League to date. They are very well gelled together, of course, apart from that midfield. Now, if we bring the tactic out, you can see a lot of nice green lines. That's the main reason I wanted to use this squad in the Conference League. That just seems to give us a little bit of an edge, which that team who has higher ratings doesn't quite have at this stage. So that was the logic behind that decision. As I said before, might be regretting that with the fact that we're turning professional around about 2/3 of the way through the group stage of this competition. But we are taking on Motherwell. If we have a quick look at them heading into this game, they currently find themselves 6th in the Scottish Premiership. They were expected to finish 5th, so they're near abouts to where they were expected to be. Of course, Rangers and Celtic at the top. So this is probably a difficult game for us, 10th in terms of competition reputation, but we have just come off being Trabzonspor, who were a bit higher favoured in a league that's only slightly lower rated than the Scottish Premiership in terms of competition reputation. So this is not out of the realms of possibility at our home away from home of being a win for us. And if we can win this game, I imagine it will put us in a quite good position to potentially get out of this group in second place behind Napoli. But we'll come back shortly and kick off our Conference League group stage campaign at the Laugardas Vola in Reykjavik. As I said, our home away from home against Motherwell. And we have a highlight fairly early on here, a goal kick to Motherwell playing in the gold and maroon. We, of course, being kind of at home in our green Northern Lights uniform. Some really good short passing here, though, from the Scottish outfit, and that ball comes off the post. We get away with one nice and early there. They've cut us open there, have Motherwell, and we get away with it. Still 0-0 early doors. And at the 12-minute mark, we have another highlight here, starting with a goal kick to Motherwell, and we deal with that one safely, and hopefully we can do something ourselves here on the attack, because early stages, that bit of play from Motherwell before looked a little bit concerned. They got for us like a hot knife through Bala Stefans on there with the header, just goes over the bar, so a good chance for both teams now, but it remains 0-0. 21 minutes gone, and it is another highlight potentially in our favour, as we do have a throw inside the final third. Can Lilamosa or Sviderski get anything going? We can't, and the ball goes up to Big T Watt up front for Motherwell, but a good little bit of play there, and we somehow get the ball back and might look to get something going here on the counter-attack. A little bit of a sloppy pass there, but Lilamosa will tidy things up, and hopefully we can get something going in this bit of play. Lillamosa back on the ball out for Kershaw. What can he do? Starts to make his way forward down the left-hand side out for Leandro Diaz. Now it is Ledson, a player who next season will be homegrown at the club. So he's a player who we will definitely be looking to offer a pro contract to. Zviderski with the header, just goes over the bar. Two decent headed chances for us now, but it does remain 0-0. And up to the 40-minute mark now, to the surprise of absolutely no one, Napoli are winning the other game. We have a corner short to Zviderski. Great chance at the far post, but puts it high and wide, and it does remain 0-0. Highlights-wise, certainly working our way into things in the second part of that first half after a little bit of a fortunate start. Motherwell had a great chance to go 1-0 up, but we're not doing too badly. 0-0 at halftime. We'll just get Ledson to ease off tackles, but pretty happy with the way that things are trending in this game, and hopefully we might have the chance to pick up a winning goal at some stage in the second half of this opening Conference League group stage game. And up to the hour mark, I think it's time for us to make some substitutions. Nothing happening so far in the second half. Both Dordovic and Stefansson up front, not really up to much in this game, so Arnason and Mamash can come on for those two. And I also think we might change our crosses in the way that they are being delivered. Our assistant manager did suggest that we go 2 low crosses before the start of this game, so I think we'll try that with a half hour to go, but still pretty evenly poised game, 0-0 as we enter the last half hour.
Yeah.
And straight off the back of those substitutions, would you believe it, the player that we registered in place of a player who we thought would be injured in Bosco Shio, Nicolucci Caviglia, has picked up an injury of his own. So that is some real big brain stupidity from me there. He is going to be out for some time. You'd imagine that's a bit of a blow. He's our best player in this Conference League squad. We'll bring Musumeci on for him. 25 minutes left to go. We've used all our subs. It remains 0-0. We have a corner. It's a really good save there from the shore header from Cully in goal for Motherwell. Sviderski with another header. That one goes high and wide. Yet again, we're looking quite dangerous from those aerial situations, but the scoreline still 0-0 with 20 minutes left to play. 79 minutes gone. We are about to enter the dying embers of this game, and Motherwell do have a goal kick. They take it short, distribute it to the fullbacks, very similar to what we're doing, but it is good to see that this tactic that we have been using on the rise up through Icelandic football at the moment seems to be holding its own fairly well at European level, albeit we haven't taken on any big teams to date, but we're still doing a decent job against these teams who we have been playing so far. So I think the wing play is going to do us for a little while here at Volsungur until we start to really improve the team noticeably. They get a ball across at the near post, and somehow Harry Bowles is there to slot it past Bardu in goal. That's a really soft goal to concede, and unfortunately, in a home game, that is a bit of a bitter blow. We just can't seem to get any really good results at our home away from home. We've been picking up wins and draws, but just not doing it very comfortably. And yet again, we've had some good chances to take the lead in this game. Unfortunately, we haven't, and Motherwell make us pay there. I think we'll change our crosses back to being mixed because we've actually looked quite dangerous from the aerial situation so far in this game, but we are 1-0 down with 10 minutes to play. 89 minutes gone. We have a late free kick. Kershaw at the far post. It comes off the upright. Another great chance in the air for us there. We play the ball back into the mixer, but Ledson is offside. We have had our chances in this game. We haven't taken them. You look at things stats-wise, we've actually been the slightly better team, but it is going to matter for absolutely nothing, and we lose in our first group stage game of the Conference League, and that could be a big loss as well in terms of our hopes of finishing second in this group. It's a bit of a harsh one to take. They did start the game off well, Motherwell, but from there we did look to get the slight upper hand, but they got that goal with 10 minutes to go, getting past Barda with his near post. Slightly disappointing the way that we conceded that one, and unfortunately we do suffer a loss in our first game of the group stage of the Conference League. And here is what that group table does look like off the back of that rather gutting defeat to Motherwell. As I said, that could be quite important in terms of who is going to finish second in this group. They do now have the upper hand in terms of the other game, as you would expect. Napoli absolutely pumping the North Macedonian team 3-0. The red card to one of their players did not help, I imagine, in that game at all. And to make matters worse, if we go back to the inbox, Caviglia is out for 4 to 5 weeks with a fractured toe. So he's going to be missing for most of this group stage now, so that little change that I made registration-wise definitely has not paid off, it is fair to say. So a little bit of a rough ending to today's episode after we did lift the title in the first game, and that will do it for today's episode. I suppose now something for me to do is go through this big squad that we do currently have here at Volsungur and see which players I want to keep at the club for when we do turn professional. Obviously, with European registration, some of those players are going to be forced upon me, players that might not be the best ability-wise. We're probably going to have to offer some contracts too, but do let me know down below in the comments if you do have any tips if you've gone from semi-pro to professional before, because even though we did the Hexagon Challenge here last season, that is not something that I have done in Football Manager before. So any tips would be greatly appreciated, especially contract-wise, when you can start offering full-time contracts to players and whatnot. I imagine the part-time contracts that we've got some of these guys on would still carry over, but not entirely sure. And I'll try and manipulate that wage budget. I think I already have somewhat. Indeed, we've got £12.52 thousand a week spare, and we can't move that transfer budget over anymore quite at the moment, but that's still a good little bit of extra kitty that we do have to play with for when we do turn professional for the later stages of the Conference League group stage. But as I said, that will do it for today's episode. We won the Islandsdeildin, so that was good news. Unfortunately, a little bit of a game defeat at home there to Motherwell in our first Conference League group game. But if you did enjoy this episode, we also, of course, did turn professional, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video. And if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. In terms of when we'll be back, we'll be doing another double header in the Conference League, our next two games. If we go and have a look at the schedule, not all of our Conference League games are showing up here, because I imagine some of those games are actually taking place after the end of the Icelandic season. That's why those last two games after we do turn professional aren't showing up on here. But tomorrow we'll give you guys a very brief recap of our last few games of the league season, now that that doesn't really mean too much. And off the back of that, we will take on the North Macedonian team away from home. And then also away from home, we have got Napoli, probably in for a bit of a pumping in that one. So 3 points from that game away in North Macedonia is going to be pretty darn important to our hopes of trying to get out of this group. But until then, for a Conference League group stage doubleheader, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.